A hush falls across the room as an unseen presence steadies the air. The clock seemed to lean forward as if listening for your next breath. The night holds its breath because truth is stepping into the light. This message arrives like a sealed envelope slid beneath your door. It carries the weight of courtroom doors and the echo of metal locks. It also carries a key that dissolves those iron echoes into soft dawn. You have been walking with a shadow at your heels for months. This shadow smiles when you are looking and whispers when you turn away. It has practiced the art of pretending, and it thinks you will not notice. A script was drafted about you without your consent. Lines were rehearsed in rooms you never entered. An audience was gathered by someone who needed you broken to feel whole. The accusation did not grow from truth, it was planted. It did not sprout by accident, it was watered with envy and fear. Hands clapped quietly as the seedling curled toward your name. In the dark corners of certain conversations, your image was cut and rearranged. Fragments of moments were stitched with threads of malice. A picture was made that looks like you but is not you. There is a person who needed a mirror, but chose a target. They traded their reflection for your reputation because the mirror was honest. They chose the easier lie over the harder healing. You did not invite this storm, but it mistook your calm as permission. You did not raise your voice, and so the storm thought you were sleeping. You were not sleeping, you were listening to the soft footfalls of truth. A page will turn now because the hour requires it. You will feel the old chill leave your bones like yesterday's rain. Warmth will rise from within like a lantern carried through a tunnel. There is evidence hidden in plain sight that favors you. A timestamp that refuses to be bent will stand in your defense. A signature that trembles with inconsistency will betray the plan. A witness believed they were invisible, but conscience writes in fire. Their silence has grown heavy, and their pillow remembers every word. Before long their lips will loosen to save their own skin from flame. You have friends you do not know yet, and they are already moving. A message is being drafted by someone who understands the pattern. Their kindness is quiet, but it is a force that cannot be bought. Your name carries a resonance that lies cannot swallow. Each letter glows with memory that the darkness cannot mimic. This glow attracts the right eyes at the right hour. Soon a door will open in a hallway you have walked for years. It will look like a supply closet, ordinary and ignored. Inside it, the file you need will sit as if it never left your care. The person who moved against you practiced a performance. They learned the pauses, the tears, and the tilt of innocence. They did not practice the ending where truth rises like the tide. A calendar holds the moment when everything overturns. It is closer than a heartbeat and calmer than a prayer. You will step into that moment and feel the floor remember your name. Do not argue with shadows because shadows do not listen. Walk toward the switch and they will thin into nothing. Light refuses to negotiate with darkness and still loves the room. Your strength is not noise, it is structure. It is the beam that holds the roof when the windows rattle. It is the reason the house still stands when storms brag. You were not chosen for this to be broken. You were chosen because you are a hinge in a larger door. When this door swings, generations will feel the breeze. A preparation begins now even if your hands feel empty. You will gather what matters and set it in quiet order. Papers will align, memories will clarify, and your spine will lengthen. The next time your name is spoken in the wrong mouth, it will crack. The sound will splinter like cheap glass under truth's weight. Those shards will reflect their own faces and the room will see. Do not chase rumors, let them run out of air. Do not feed fires started with damp wood. Let the wet logs hiss until they give up their smoke. There is a judge inside you who knows the tone of honesty. This judge does not wear a robe, it wears your breath. It bangs no gavel, but its silence settles every debate. You will receive an unexpected call that steadies you. The voice will be familiar to your spirit even if the number is new. It will not offer promises, it will point to a bridge already built. In a folder with your name, a misprint will reveal intention. The letters will wobble where the lie tried to stand. Your eye will catch the wobble the way a hawk finds movement in grass. A name will rise in your mind with the steadiness of dawn. It will not arrive as shock, it will arrive as recognition. You always knew, and now you will simply admit it without pain. The one who accused you hoped to see you collapse. They rehearsed your breakdown the way actors rehearse applause. They did not imagine you would stand up taller because of gravity's secrets. There is a line that cannot be crossed without consequence. They stepped over it believing consequence was asleep. Consequence was awake and counted each footprint quietly. Your path now moves through clarity like a ship through morning fog. The horn of your soul has already sounded, and the mist respects it. The shoreline of your vindication is no longer distant. You will place your hand on your chest and feel an engine. This engine runs on devotion, not on drama. It knows the route home without a map. A letter will arrive with a seal that symbolizes authority. Inside it, words will untangle what malice tried to knot. Relief will unfurl across your shoulders like a warm cloak. There is a room with fluorescent lights where stories often twist. In that room, your story will straighten like metal under heat. Each sentence will click into place with the sound of inevitability. You will remember the faces of those who stood back. You will bless them without speaking because you understand growth. They were not cowards, they were seedlings learning where the sun is. The one who harmed you will tiptoe around the edges of apology. They will taste ash and call it pride, then swallow hard. You will not drink from that cup because your river is clean. Choose your words like tools, not like weapons. Tools build tables where the hungry can rest. Weapons only make more noise for the starving night. You will sleep, and sleep will be your advocate. Dreams will file evidence precisely where you can retrieve it. You will wake with a knowing that is smooth and unarguable. The hands that tried to push you down will feel their own weight. They will learn gravity's lessons without your lecture. They will face mirrors that do not blink. There are numbers that keep appearing around you with purpose. They step across your path like steady footprints to follow. They are not superstition, they are choreography. Your future is already at the door knocking with gentle knuckles. It is the version of you that has walked through this fire. It carries cool water and a new set of keys. You will meet a guide who dresses like an ordinary day. Their advice will fit you without stitching. It will feel like a coat you forgot you owned. Do not negotiate your worth with anyone who needs discount tags. Full price is honesty, and you have already paid it. The receipt is in your spine and your gaze. You will stop explaining yourself in rooms that prefer fog. Clarity is your fare and the train departs on the minute. Missed trains are lessons for those who love the platform more than the journey. The accusation will crumble not because you shout. It will crumble because it was built on sand pretending to be stone. Tides arrive on schedule, and sand always remembers. You will notice laughter returning to your mouth like a bird to a branch. It will settle there and build a small nest of joy. Songs will hatch in time for a kinder season. This season teaches you how to carry fire without burning. It teaches you how to hold a blade without cutting. It teaches you the wisdom of leaving doors ajar for grace. You will sign your name on new papers that honor the old truth. Ink will move like river water, unforced and serene. Your initials will look like wings on a quiet horizon. A lesson is complete when your shoulders drop and your breath deepens. Completion does not erase, it integrates. Your story widens to hold everything without breaking. People will try to rewrite the past when the verdict arrives. Smiles will appear that you do not need to punish. History will be kind because you are kind to history. You will feel the strength of those who loved you into being. They stand at your back like a forest. Roots interlace under your feet and speak in sap. A corridor of opportunity opens when innocence is confirmed. You will hear soft invitations stitched into everyday moments. Respond with presence and let the new chapter write itself. The face of the accuser will fade from your inner sky. It will become a weather pattern you can recognize and avoid. You will protect others by naming the pattern without venom. Your task now is steady cultivation. Each morning you will water the field of your focus. Each evening you will harvest the peace that grows there. There is nothing left to prove to those who prefer confusion. You honor them by stepping out of their smoke. Fresh air is your boundary and your medicine. Your home will feel different once the pressure leaves. Walls will exhale and corners will brighten. You will notice how your own laughter rearranges furniture. The community that truly sees you will gather like lanterns. Light recognizes light, even across crowded streets. They will hand you projects shaped like your gift. You will remember how to celebrate without apology. Joy will not ask for permission slips. It will pull a chair to your table and fill your cup. Your name has been scrubbed clean by time and truth. It wears a new shine that comes only from weathered grace. This shine is not louder, it is deeper. Trust the rhythm in your bones that says keep walking. It keeps perfect time with the heartbeat of protection. It never rushes, and yet it never arrives late. From here forward, speak life into your days with deliberate breath. Let your sentences plant orchards instead of weeds. Let your gestures fold like blessings into the pockets of strangers. The storm that tried to claim you has emptied itself. Clouds drift like tired soldiers returning home. Sunlight holds your name without sharp edges. When the letter of vindication arrives, hold it with soft hands. Place it where you can see it while you work. Let it be a bookmark in the story that continues through you. You have become a lighthouse by surviving with integrity. Ships you will never meet adjust their course because of your beam. The coastline thanks you in the language of safe harbors. Offer your gratitude to the day that revealed and healed. Gratitude polishes truth until it reflects everything good. Polished truth becomes a mirror where the future practices smiling. Your steps are wiser now and your silence is stronger. You will walk past the old traps as if they are chalk drawings. Rain will come and wash them away while you brew tea. There is a gentleness that returns after the verdict. It sits on your shoulder and hums a steady tune. This tune will guide your hands toward new craft and new care. You will build something practical and beautiful because of this. It might be a business, a book, a shelter, or a sanctuary. It will hold others the way you wish to be held. The accuser will drift into the background of their own lessons. You do not need to follow, fix, or fight. You need only continue becoming the lesson you learned. Forgiveness may come like a tide or like dew. It chooses its own pace and does not announce itself. When it arrives, your chest will feel like open window light. Your tomorrow is already stepping through the doorway of today. It carries the fragrance of ordinary miracles. It brings tasks that fit your hands and hours that fit your heart. Honor your name by aligning your days with your design. Choose the rooms that honor your clarity. Choose the work that matches your breath. The world will try to pull you into arguments that go nowhere. You have maps now and you have better roads. You have a vehicle tuned by endurance and grace. Let your home be a workshop of kindness. Hang your victories like tools and use them. Teach with presence, not with preaching. Those who watched you carry this weight learned something vital. They learned that dignity is not fragile and truth is not timid. They learned that storms run out of rain. There will be a moment when you stand by a window and smile. You will realize the fear has become a story you tell for light. The window will reflect a face you trust completely. You are ready for the appointments destiny kept on hold. You will be on time for them because you are on time for yourself. The chair will fit and the pen will glide. When your name is spoken in the next room, it will be in blessing. When your footsteps are counted, they will add up to honor. When your story is replayed, it will end with steady light. A final seal closes over this chapter with love, not with rage. Your freedom becomes a bridge that others can cross. You walk first to show the way, then you build rails for the rest. Stand now in the center of your cleared name. Feel how the space around you trusts you again. Feel how the ground beneath you agrees with your heart. Carry forward the quiet certainty you earned. Keep company with those who sharpen your clarity. Rest often, work truly, love well. The sky above you signs your acquittal in broad strokes. The earth beneath you notarizes it with patient flowers. Your breath witnesses it every time it enters and leaves without fear. You are not what was said in panic and spite. You are what remains when panic and spite run out of fuel. You are the steady flame that teaches even the night to soften. Walk on, beloved soul, with the confidence of a sunrise. Your innocence is not just defended, it is revealed. Your future bows and opens the door you were always meant to pass. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. The hour moves like a procession and your poise leads it. Every step you take carries the quiet gravity of someone who knows. Knowing turns into calm, and calm turns into effective motion. A folder opens on your table and the truth arranges itself. Receipts align beside emails and the dates nod in agreement. Screenshots sit like steady witnesses with nothing to hide. You hear the gentle hum of certainty beneath the noise. It vibrates through the floorboards and meets the soles of your feet. You feel taller because the ground is finally speaking your language. A message arrives from an unexpected ally who saw the rehearsal. They remember a slip in the script where the lie stumbled. They bring that memory like a lantern into the room. Your focus becomes a beam strong enough to guide ships. You shine it across the pages and shadows evacuate. Every detail that matters steps forward without drama. You rehearse your truth the way a craftsman rehearses precision. Not to perform but to honor the material of your life. Wood meets chisel and the grain reveals its honest pattern. The one who cast the accusation wears fatigue like a heavy coat. It hangs awkward on their frame and limits their breath. Truth always fits, falsehood always pinches. A hallway conversation is overheard by the right ears. It moves like a small river toward the open sea of clarity. Nothing can stop a river that remembers the ocean. Your name is spoken in a room where decisions crystallize. It arrives with a tone that softens rigid brows. Respect returns like a flock that recognizes its keeper. You become meticulous with your hours because precision is peace. You label files, set reminders, and line up facts like polished stones. Order removes fear and makes courage practical. You consult a timeline that cannot be tricked. Timestamps point like constellations that sailors have trusted for centuries. The map is simple once the fog lifts and the stars are visible. There is a recording that tells the story without emotion. It keeps its voice even and its memory exact. Technology becomes a quiet servant of justice. A paper trail leads to a desk drawer you once ignored. Inside it sits a detail as plain as daylight. Plain daylight is the most persuasive witness the world knows. You speak few words in the room that matters most. Each sentence lands like a measured footstep on a sturdy bridge. Across that bridge, your future waits with open hands. Your presence is the proof that panic wanted to erase. Stillness makes the room hear itself and correct its posture. Decision makers feel their shoulders lower as the truth roots. An apology hovers in the air but never finds the right mouth. You refuse to chase it because integrity does not beg. You walk on and let dignity complete the sentence. A document is reviewed line by line until the flaw confesses itself. Ink betrays intention when pressure wavers on the stroke. Eyes trained by honesty see what fear pretended to hide. You sleep without screens near your pillow. Rest becomes a strategy and not an afterthought. Morning greets you like a partner who respects your mission. The scales tilt because weight belongs on the side of truth. You do not celebrate early because patience is your ally. You allow the balance to settle where accuracy places it. A door closes on the rumor mill with a soft final click. Silence returns to the corridors that once hosted chaos. In that silence, you hear the shape of your next chapter. You send a brief message of gratitude to the ones who stood. It travels like a warm breeze through their day. They answer with smiles you can feel through glass. The accuser stares into a mirror they avoided for years. Reflections multiply until understanding has nowhere else to go. Learning begins where pretending ends, and there is no shortcut. You choose not to drink bitterness because bitterness is a thief. You pour yourself clarity and add 2 measures of grace. This cocktail builds muscle in the soul and sharpness in the mind. New allies step forward wearing ordinary clothes. They have titles that do not need trumpets. Competence is their banner and decency their seal. The institution that considered you now considers the process. Policies adjust like sails that catch a wiser wind. Many will be safer because you stayed steady under pressure. Your craft calls you back with the kind insistence of a friend. Work waits like a clean workbench under good light. You pick up your tools and remember why you began. A project you paused unfolds easily under your renewed gaze. Ideas reconnect like branches braided by careful hands. Momentum returns without haste and honors your new pace. You make room in your calendar for what is restorative. Walks become meetings with the sky and the trees. You take notes in leaves and breezes and carry the minutes home. A letter of correction circulates through the network that misjudged you. It speaks in measured language that leaves no door ajar for confusion. Its punctuation lands like. It contains a single sentence that moves like water over stone. Forgiveness travels across it without friction. You reorganize your space to match your spirit. Drawers that once held delays now hold decisions. Shelves that once sagged under worry now carry wisdom. Your name appears in a record with the word cleared. Cleared feels like open windows and linen in sunshine. You inhale and the lungs of your life applaud. Confidence returns with quiet shoes. It does not stomp or demand attention. It simply sits at your desk and starts helping. People who watched from the sidelines learned a lesson. They saw how patience cuts cleaner than fury. They saw how truth always grows in the direction of light. You send a gentle note to your future self. It reads like a compass more than a diary. It points you toward habit, humility, and high standards. The narrative you carry now has edges smoothed by insight. You can place it on any table without cutting those who listen. Wisdom makes even sharp stories safe to handle. You invest in your boundaries as if they are bridges. They do not block, they direct. They ensure traffic moves toward purpose and away from waste. A mentor recognizes the new steel in your voice. They nod with the relief of someone who has seen storms before. Their guidance becomes a lighter touch because you carry more. Your daily practice deepens into ritual with meaning. Ritual turns ordinary hours into reliable anchors. Anchors keep ships useful by keeping them honest. Opportunities whisper instead of shout because your ears are refined. You accept fewer and better invitations. Discernment becomes a muscle that never strains. A community quietly reorganizes itself around your proven character. Networks form that value accuracy over spectacle. Your presence becomes a password to rooms where integrity lives. You set a new standard for how you speak your own name. You do not diminish or decorate it. You place it where it belongs and let it carry its weight. The echoes of the false story fade into academic footnotes. Scholars of human behavior will study how lies dissolve under attention. Your case will appear in their minds as a diagram of renewal. The craft of your life produces artifacts with longevity. They are built from material that does not warp in heat. They endure because intention and execution now agree. You establish a sanctuary practice one evening each week. You turn down the world and turn up presence. This becomes the forge where your next breakthroughs are shaped. The people who love you see an ease in your shoulders. They mirror it and a household culture changes. Whole rooms feel safer because you are safe in yourself. You start a file labeled thresholds and you mean it. Inside it are notes about edges you will not cross again. Edges keep gardens beautiful when the world forgets how to prune. A small celebration happens that fits your soul. It might be tea and music or a walk beneath patient trees. The moment registers as a milestone your bones remember. You look back just enough to retrieve the lessons. Then you face forward because forward is your native direction. The road accepts you like a familiar friend. Conversations deepen because you bring depth instead of defense. People exhale and then they tell the truth. Trust grows like ivy across a wall that needed greening. The institution that cleared you invites your counsel. You offer it without bitterness and with clean precision. Systems improve because you showed what alignment looks like. A junior colleague learns from your way of standing. They borrow your posture until they discover their own. Legacy begins in borrowed posture and ends in original strength. You write a simple statement for your own archives. It is brief, exact, and faithful. It says what happened, what you did, and what you learned. Your evenings contain more quiet victories than loud achievements. They collect like coins in a jar you only open for generosity. You spend them on kindness because kindness compounds. The city you live in feels different at dusk. Streets that once felt narrow now feel possible. Possibility is the widest road anyone can walk. You revisit a place that once held your anxiety hostage. The locks have changed and you carry the new keys. Ownership replaces fear with a single turn of the wrist. You find yourself laughing at ordinary things again. A kettle's whistle sounds like relief. Even a folded shirt can look like a small sunrise. One morning, you pass the person who tried to bury you. You nod like two travelers on different roads. You keep walking because your map is clear. A long-range opportunity lands on your desk with impeccable timing. It matches your skill and honors your scars. You accept it with both hands and with calm gratitude. Mentions of your ordeal become footnotes to achievements. The story shrinks to its proper size while your life grows. Growth always wins when it is tended daily. You reward your patience with structured ambition. Goals arrive as architecture instead of fireworks. Architecture lasts because it is measured with care. Your calendar gains white space and that white space grows fruit. Unrushed hours are orchards you can actually harvest. You taste the sweetness that hurry never allows. When people ask who you are, your answer is simple. You say your name and you do your work. Your work confirms your name without any added decoration. The wind around your home carries a different temperature. It feels like spring even on winter days. Seasons obey the climate inside a steady soul. A final letter arrives that closes every file. It sits in your hands like a well-made key. You keep it not as armor but as a reminder of alignment. From this day, you refuse to be drafted into anyone else's sphere. You sign only the contracts your integrity can honor. Your signature is ink mixed with principle and time. You begin to mentor someone who almost lost themselves to rumor. You listen more than you speak because listening rescues. They find their shape again under the canopy of your patience. A quiet vow forms and you keep it with joy. You vow to meet conflict with clarity and compassion. You vow to build where others break and to mend where others mock. Your steps now make a sound that gathers helpers. The sound is consistent, not loud. Consistency is the drumbeat that summons trustworthy allies. You turn your attention to a horizon that once looked unreachable. It moves toward you because mutual recognition is real. Meeting halfway is the ancient choreography of destiny. Old nightmares try to visit and find no chair to sit on. You remove the furniture that entertained them. They leave through the same door they used once, only smaller. The lessons you learned are embedded in your routines. Routines become rituals that carry meaning without weight. Meaning carried lightly travels farthest. You learn the delicate art of earned ease. Ease does not mean careless, it means confident. Confidence is silent power that multiplies good. New friends arrive with unhurried loyalty. They bring work ethic and humor in equal measure. Rooms brighten when people like this enter. You revisit the narrative one last time to bless it. Blessing transforms history into wisdom. Wisdom travels well and never spoils. Your days stretch without the elastic snap of panic. They lie smooth on the table of your life. You cut them into portions that feed purpose. A year from the first whisper of accusation, you stand at a new threshold. You recognize the scent of clean wood and fresh paint. Beginnings smell like this when endings were honored. You mark the day with a small act of generosity. It breaks the last thread connecting you to grievance. Freedom loves the sound of small generosity. From here, accountability is your friend and not your fear. You build systems that prevent confusion and protect the soft-hearted. That is what leaders do when they graduate from the school of storms. Your story circulates in healthier rooms than before. It inspires the quiet ones to keep their spine straight. Straight spines make better bridges. If a rumor flickers in the distance, it loses interest quickly. It cannot feed on someone who feeds themselves with truth. Starved rumors drift away like smoke that forgot its fire. You carry a calm that becomes your signature quality. People trust it because it does not perform. It simply steadies whatever it touches. In the future courtroom of your own decisions, you testify with ease. Your choices line up like witnesses who rehearsed nothing. They speak in harmony because they were made in clarity. A sunrise finds you working on something you love again. Love is the best affidavit of character. It is admissible everywhere and needs no translator. You become a steward of the process that saved you. Stewards keep engines clean and maps updated. They ensure that future travelers travel better. By evening, you write down one sentence that sums the season. It reads like a balance sheet of the soul. Truth in the black, fear at zero, dignity compounded. Now you rest without armor on the chair of your own name. The chair holds because it was built from tempered moments. Tempered moments always hold. And onward you go, clear-eyed and unburdened. The horizon meets your stride like an equal. Your life walks toward its rightful vastness with quiet command. The road ahead greets you with the sobriety of a craftsman's bench. Everything upon it is usable, honest, and arranged for work. Your hands recognize the texture of purpose and settle in without strain. You carry lessons like well-fitted tools, not trophies. Each tool has a place and a moment when it becomes essential. This knowledge softens your days and sharpens your outcomes. A quiet standard rises in you and stays. It measures ideas by integrity and impact. It lets go of the rest without guilt or spectacle. The clock on your wall stops meaning panic and starts meaning rhythm. You meet your hours with a practiced breath. Work moves because you move with it instead of against it. An invitation arrives to speak with those who feel cornered. You bring them the architecture of calm rather than slogans. Calm spreads faster than fear when someone demonstrates the blueprint. You teach how to document truth before storms begin. Receipts, journals, and timelines become living allies. Preparation turns anxiety into stewardship and stewardship into freedom. You refine a practice of daily reconciliation with yourself. You note what served, what strained, and what will be shaped tomorrow. This becomes the hinge on which your progress turns cleanly. You stop entering rooms that reward chaos. You choose tables where precision is praised. Better rooms change outcomes without needing loud announcements. Your energy stops leaking through unsound boundaries. It flows through chosen channels with steady pressure. Power grows where leakage ends and focus begins. You craft language that builds rather than bruises. It carries clarity the way a river carries reflection. People drink from it and leave stronger rather than stunned. A colleague confesses they believed the early smoke. You receive the confession without theater. Grace records the moment and moves forward with both of you intact. You become a gardener of relationships that honor mutual truth. Water goes to roots that yield fruit. Branches that refuse sunlight are pruned with mercy and firmness. You create a safeguarding protocol for your projects. It includes version history, audit trails, and neutral witnesses. The protocol becomes a lattice that helps vines grow upward. Your home gains the feeling of a completed circle. Things have places, and each place reduces friction. Order becomes kindness expressed through shelves and drawers. A mentor smiles because your eyes now hold weathered peace. They see readiness where there once was a search. Readiness is the quiet proof of lessons truly learned. The city echoes differently when you walk through it. Storefronts seem to nod because your stride is unhurried. Unhurried souls read signals others miss and act at the right depth. An old fear tries to visit and finds the gate secured. The latch is simple and it works every time. Simplicity wins because it leaves nothing loose. You create a practice of writing one precise page each day. The page captures truth, effort, and a single refinement. Pages stack into a ledger that proves your devotion. A friend asks for help and you answer with structure. You give steps instead of storms. They finish the day steadier than they began. You invest your attention like currency backed by values. Spending it becomes a moral decision, not a reflex. Dividends arrive as results you can stand under without flinching. Your calendar holds a weekly hour for strategic silence. In that hour, ideas that matter rise above the hum. Silence behaves like a magnet for clarity and courage. You revisit your origin story and remove the thorns. What remains is clean fiber that can be woven into service. Service stitched from clean fiber never frays under weight. A small archive grows with artifacts of victory. Not to boast, but to remember process. Memory of process is the most reliable compass. You engage conflict as a craftsman engages heat. Not to burn, but to temper. Tempered metal sings when tapped and holds shape under strain. A young person watches you navigate pressure without theater. They decide to copy steadiness instead of thunder. This single decision alters the atmosphere of their future. Your evenings grow luminous with legitimate pride. Pride is legitimate when it arises from consistency. Consistency becomes the anthem your work can dance to. You design a way to track promises you make to yourself. Promises are dated, weighed, and delivered. Delivery replaces self-doubt with evidence. A former critic becomes a fair partner in a new build. Shared process replaces old narratives. Features ship on time because respect removes friction. You choose the projects that fit your convictions like a tailored coat. The fit reduces decision fatigue and prevents ethical drafts. Warmth accumulates where fit replaces pretense. You learn to rest like an athlete between heats. Rest is not a pause in dignity but a partner to it. Recovery becomes the engine of repeated excellence. Emails shrink in length and grow in accuracy. Subject lines do real work and paragraphs do not wander. People answer quickly because you respect their hours. Your influence spreads by results rather than resonance alone. Results speak a language shared by skeptics and believers. That shared language keeps teams honest and goals measurable. You become careful about what you celebrate. You praise courage, accuracy, and kindness under pressure. The culture around you begins to reflect those choices. A door once closed to you opens with no hinges squeaking. You walk in without revenge. You sit down and contribute like a professional who remembers. You set up a quiet emergency kit for reputation safety. It contains documentation templates and escalation paths. Preparedness calms rooms even when storms only threaten. Mornings begin without dread and end without debris. You stack clean hours like bricks in a sturdy wall. The wall protects without blocking the sun. You catalog your strengths with the humility of a scientist. Observed, repeated, and refined becomes your method. This method produces work that stands without personality props. You give credit early and often to those who stand near you. Credit creates oxygen in busy rooms. Oxygen keeps brilliance from burning itself out. A long-term plan arrives with milestones and margins. Milestones mark momentum and margins guard the soul. Plans with margins invite beauty to visit unpressured. You create simple rituals at thresholds of the day. Light a candle, scan the map, bless the effort. Rituals tell your nervous system that leadership is safe. Distractions lose their camouflage under your new gaze. They look like glitter on cardboard. You walk past them because your compass points to solid wood. You build an index of trustworthy advisors across fields. Law, finance, governance, and craft each have a name. Names in the index reduce panic and accelerate wisdom. You measure success by fidelity to your design. Fidelity survives fashion and outlives noise. Long horizons reward those who do not betray themselves. The team you assemble learns your quiet tempo. They tune instruments to a key that honors clarity. Music happens because agreement is audible. You revisit boundaries with gratitude rather than resentment. Boundaries are the architecture of freedom. Architecture is beautiful when it serves both strength and light. You keep evidence of progress visible but not loud. A whiteboard holds 3 truths and 2 next steps. Vision breathes better when it lives in air, not in tunnels. A request arrives that once would have tempted your values. Declining it feels like both a victory and a relief. Relief teaches as much as triumph when integrity guides. You distill your message into one sentence you can carry anywhere. It names who you serve and how you serve them. The sentence fits in your pocket like a key that never bends. Your schedule leaves room for serendipity within structure. Chance meets preparation and shakes hands without fuss. Useful surprises become regular allies. You thank the version of you who kept standing. Gratitude repairs timelines from the inside. Repaired timelines support futures worth inhabiting. You notice how your voice no longer tries to win. It tries to align, clarify, and move forward. Alignment makes winning a byproduct rather than an obsession. You establish a ledger of favors given without return. They are investments in the moral economy. Moral economies yield compound peace. You design exit criteria for commitments before you enter them. Clarity about endings keeps beginnings clean. Clean cycles create momentum that respects human limits. You give form to a mentorship loop that outlives any single project. Knowledge flows in circles instead of puddles. Circles irrigate more ground than puddles ever could. You refine how you handle the word no. No becomes a complete sentence with a friendly tone. Friendly tone keeps doors available for the right yes. You track your energy like a responsible custodian. Inputs are wholesome and outputs are honest. Custodianship prevents the theft of self by fatigue. You celebrate the day you realized you no longer explain away your intuition. Intuition earned a seat at your table by being tested and confirmed. Seats at your table are reserved for what proves faithful. Your workspace gains artifacts of meaning, not dust collectors. Each item earns its square inch by purpose. Purpose is the rent that objects pay in a focused life. You choose fewer metrics and honor them fully. Noise falls away when signal is cherished. Progress becomes a melody rather than static. Your meetings begin with context, move through decisions, and end with ownership. Ownership is named clearly and kindly. Named ownership transforms intent into motion. You keep a short list of habits that anchor excellence. Hydrate, document, confirm, reflect, restore. Short lists are easier to honor than heroic fantasies. You retire the costume of invincibility and put on durability. Durability is honest about limits and brilliant at recovery. Recovered strength outperforms postured strength across seasons. Your craft becomes a service people can trust without ceremony. Trust arrives quietly and stays for the long haul. The long haul reveals who truly builds. You replace revenge fantasies with architecture diagrams. Diagrams lead to construction that blesses more lives than anger ever could. Blessed construction outlasts burned bridges. A letter arrives from someone rescued by your steadiness. They describe a moment when your example stopped their spiral. You file the letter in a folder titled Proof of Meaning. You organize a tiny council for your most consequential moves. The council meets rarely and speaks plainly. Plain speech prevents the drift that ruins good maps. You accept that some relationships are complete, not broken. Completion honors what was without forcing what is not. Honor creates room for fresh alliances unmarred by nostalgia. You make a habit of closing loops before sleep. Small closures keep the mind from inventing storms. The night becomes a sanctuary rather than a courtroom. Your pace fits your breath and your breath fits your purpose. Each day lands with enough left over for kindness. Kindness given at day's end becomes tomorrow's first strength. You design a fairness checklist for moments of pressure. Facts first, feelings next, futures considered. Checklists rescue integrity when adrenaline tries to take the wheel. You mentor others to prepare receipts before sparks appear. Order turns sparks into signals instead of fires. Signals guide ships while fires consume harbors. You keep a journal of fulfilled promises. Reading it rewires memory toward accuracy. Accuracy corrects the stories fear tried to write. The landscape of your influence grows by quiet referrals. People who value substance find you swiftly. Substance is the invitation that never expires. You learn to end good workdays without dragging them into the night. Closure is an art that respects both effort and rest. Rest repays effort with upgraded insight by morning. You streamline your tech so it serves instead of shouts. Alerts are tamed and dashboards are simple. Simplicity returns bandwidth to thinking. An annual ritual commemorates the day truth prevailed. You use it to renew vows to clarity and compassion. Renewal days refuel missions better than random bursts. Your name becomes shorthand for reliability. Shorthand saves time and opens doors. Doors open easiest for those who keep their word. You catch yourself smiling during ordinary tasks. Ordinary turns luminous when fear no longer taxes it. This is wealth measured in ease rather than in noise. You set aside a fund for learning that has nothing to do with defense. Learn for joy, not for armor. Joy keeps minds elastic and hearts generous. The person who tried to break you fades into honest distance. Their chapter occupies the page count it deserves and no more. Your book thickens with better chapters. You train your team to spot early signs of narrative distortion. They intervene with documentation instead of drama. Distortion withers when documentation walks into the room. You keep your gratitude practical. Thank you notes, fair pay, public credit. Practical gratitude stabilizes communities faster than speeches. A final layer of peace settles into your mornings. It feels like windows already open and a kettle already warm. Beginnings taste right when endings were handled right. You build a small library of statements that name your principles. They guide contracts, partnerships, and pivots. Principles written down become a lighthouse when weather turns. Your map includes detours designed for beauty. Beauty nourishes endurance without asking for permission. Endurance fed by beauty never turns bitter. The season that once frightened you becomes a reference point. It proves that resilience is not theory in your life. Proof changes posture in every future room. You are the calm in corridors that used to echo with nervous stories. People borrow your calm and repay it with clarity. Clarity scales better than panic in every market. Your reputation becomes a protective climate for those around you. They grow faster because weather is stable. Stable weather increases harvests across entire teams. You greet opportunity without apology and without hunger. You evaluate and either commit or release. Balanced appetite keeps vision clean. You continue to refine, organize, and build with the same steady hand. Nothing in you rushes, yet everything in you moves. This is what freedom feels like when it matures into mastery.